Hi everyone, it's Christine here from Christine's Stampin' Spot. I am an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator, and today I have one of the cutest cards to share with you using one of the absolutely cutest stamp sets I have ever seen. This is the stamp set from Stampin' Up that we will be using today. It's called Treehouse Adventure, and there's a lot of different pieces to this stamp set. So it may look a little bit overwhelming, but I think you'll see by the time we're done with this card, it's really not. It's just a matter of putting all of the pieces in their little place that's mapped out for you. And we'll go through this. Let me pull the card up just a little bit here so you can see it. Look how cute this treehouse is. What kid wouldn't love that? And I don't know if you can see it there, but that little sign says kids only. And then we've popped some of the leafy bits of the tree up on some dimensionals there. And then it says at the bottom, hey kids, you're awesome. And then there's this piece of crumb cake cardstock back here that I put through the Subtles embossing folder with the Big Shot. We'll talk about all of that as we go through. I'm just sort of doing an overview right now. And then we have some crumb cake baker's twine at the top there from the Nature's Twine baker's twine pack. So just a super sweet card to put together. There's a lot of steps to this, but none of them are hard. Like I said, it's just a matter of fitting all the little pieces together to create your little scene. This stamp set can be found on page 87 of the annual catalog. It's right here. It's the only stamp set on this particular page. It's new, as you can see by the little N in the catalog. And it is amazing. And it's one of my absolute favorites. I have had so much fun playing with this set over the last few days. And I've made lots of other cards, which hopefully I'll have time to do videos on and share with you guys. Imagine that you can change up the color schemes. You can make it for a girl, you can make it for a boy. And this sample up here in the catalog, they made it, instead of a tree house, a little church. For like a wedding card. I mean, the possibilities are really endless, and I don't want you guys to miss the stamp set. It's very inexpensive. It's only $17, and there's 24 stamps in the set, and it's just so much fun to work with. So also don't forget one more announcement. It is August. Today is August 2nd, and for the entire month of August, for every $50 you spend with me at Stampin' Up, and I'll have a link, of course, in the description box below of this video to my Stampin' Up store as well as to my blog. But for every $50 that you spend this month, you get $5 in bonus bucks, which are then redeemable in the month of September. And don't forget, you guys, the month of September is when the new holiday catalog comes out. Now, I will be doing an unboxing video tomorrow. My pre-order for the holiday catalog will be here by then. And I will also have paper catalogs by then, which will be going out to anyone who's already ordered from me. If you haven't ordered from me yet, but would like a paper holiday catalog, please let me know. I will have ways to contact me down below in the description box of this video. But the point of me showing you the cover here is to A, get you excited about this brand new catalog. I'm not allowed to show you the inside yet. I just printed this one until my actual copies come in the mail. But yes, so I wanted to get you excited about the catalog, and also to let you know with the $5 bonus bucks, they are redeemable in September when this catalog will be live to the public. So something to keep in mind there as well. All right, so let's get to stamping. Okay, I will have a link, by the way, as I said, mentioned to my blog in the description box of this video below. Make sure to click the show more option so you can see all the information typed in the description box. But the blog will have all of the measurements for all the cardstock. There's kind of a lot of steps, so I'm probably not going to go over the measurements on video, just to save a little bit of time so the video isn't so super long. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to bring over a little piece here of Whisper White cardstock. And this is the piece that we are going to be doing basically all except for our sentiment stamping on. And this is how we're going to be building our little treehouse. So I'm going to go ahead and bring over my Stampin' Pierce mat. These are photopolymer stamps, so you want to make sure you have a little bit of cushioning under the surface where you will be stamping. I'm also going to bring over some Stampin' Grid paper, which I use for scratch paper, just in case so I don't get my Stampin' Pierce mat dirty. So the first thing that I'm going to do, let me bring the final card back over, is I'm going to stamp the base of our tree. And that's going to be the first step. And I'm going to go over this sort of step by step here because, again, I don't want you guys to be intimidated by a stamp set that has so many pieces. It's really easy once you put it all together and see how it goes together. So hopefully you guys will find this helpful. So I have opened up my crumb cake ink pad, which I desperately need to re-ink and meant to do earlier today and completely forgot. So hopefully this will stamp okay for us. So what I'm doing is I'm just lightly pressing this stamp into my crumb cake ink pad here. And then we're going to stamp it down right up against the bottom of this piece of Whisper White cardstock. Again, you want some type of cushioning underneath your stamping surface. If you don't have the Stampin' Pierce mat, you can use a mouse pad, piece of craft foam, even your catalog would work. And I've used that in a pinch before at workshops and such. So what I did here, I'm going to flip this over and try again. We have to be careful, and this is why I stressed, and I just made the mistake, so I'll show you. When I stressed, you want to lightly put this photopolymer stamp set into your ink pad, because if you don't, you will get some ink where you're not supposed to, where you don't want it, on these little lines up here that get us to these little stubs of our limbs on our tree. So can you see how I got a little bit of ink there? I am using one of our older ink pads. I haven't upgraded my collection yet to all of the new ones, and the new ones I have found are much better in so many ways. They do not really do this and they also cover photopolymer stamps much better, so I definitely recommend the new ones, and I'm slowly upgrading my supply. But anyway, so let's try this again. We're just doing this one more time here and see if we can. That's much better. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and clean this stamp off and go ahead and close up our crumb cake. The next step that we want to do is go ahead and stamp our little house. And this is so fun. This is the fun little tree house here. And remember, you could do all different kinds of colors. If you wanted this for a girl, you could do a really cute pink tree house or purple tree house. I'm just keeping mine sort of, this could be gender neutral, whatever, you know, whatever you want to do. If it's just so much fun. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and stamp the house, and we want to have it level with the sides of the house, level with the top of the trunk of the tree. And again, these are photopolymer, so you can peer right through and just stamp it right down. And there's our cute little house. Look at that. How adorable is that? Okay, now it's time to do the little framing for our roof of our house. And let me show you that image here on the cover. It's this little two-sided triangle. All right, it's that angle, it's that image right there. And for that, I'm going to use Early Espresso. So I'm using just a shade darker than my tree trunk here. So actually probably 2 shades darker technically, but anyway, so we're going to use Early Espresso for this. I'm going to get this nice and inked up here. And then we just simply stamp this along the top of our tree house. Now my head's probably going to get in the way because I have to really get over this to peer through. So I apologize in advance for that, and I'll try not to, but inevitably it's probably going to happen because I want to get this right on top of my little tree house. Okay, and then you just stamp it down when you have it where you want it. And there we go. How cute is that? Adorable, right? Okay, so we're done with that image. While we have our Early Espresso out, let's go ahead and do the little steps that are leading up to the treehouse. The details in the stamp set are so fun. You really do get to create this adorable little scene. Let me show you on the cover quickly what I'm talking about here. It's this little image right here. And they're little planks of wood, you know, that would be stapled or hammered, I guess, to the tree to serve as footholds so you can climb up to the little treehouse. So we're going to get this nice and inked up also in our Early Espresso. And then again, you want to peer over, so you'll have to get your head over it. Again, I apologize if my head gets in the camera, but you want to center this right in the middle of this little tree trunk here. So your steps are right in the middle of it, going all the way up to this sweet little tree house. There we go. How cute is that? I mean, it's so detailed. There's even little holes in the little wood planks as you're going up where the nails would be. I just think, oh, I just love it. Can you guys tell? All right. So the next step then, again, while we still have our Early Espresso out, actually, no, let's go ahead and close our Early Espresso. I was going to say let's do the fence that goes in front here, but it's actually better to go ahead and stamp your door first. So let's go ahead and get out our little door, and I will show you that on the cover in just a moment. So as you can see, as we're going along here, Lots of steps because there's lots of stamps to create this little scene, but none of it is hard because when you get these three things layered down together, the tree trunk, the house, and the little frame of the roof of the treehouse, everything goes in its place, and you have all of these little spaces here where everything lines up and goes perfectly. So for example, I'm going to do a little red door, so I'm going to grab Poppy Parade. These are the new ink pads, by the way, that I was talking about a moment ago. They're so wonderful. Oh my gosh, I love these ink pads. Okay, so we're gonna do this here, ink this up in our Poppy Parade, and then we just want to stamp it right in this opening right here. So our door is already laid out for us, and again, I do have to get my head over this, and I'm so sorry if that's in the camera. I'll pull back before I stamp it down, so hopefully you can see. All you're doing is peering right through and stamping it down. And honestly, I didn't get it perfect just then. There's a little gap right there. That's only because my head wasn't perfectly in the frame. I didn't want to get my head all in camera, so yeah, that's going to happen if you don't get your head right over it. But if you get your head over it, you will line it up perfectly the first time, which I honestly did in making this card. This treehouse was my first attempt in using this stamp set, and that is the honest truth. So it's really easy to use. You just have to get your head over it, which is a little difficult when you have a camera right up there. Okay, next I'm going to grab Mango Medley, which is another brand new color, and I'm going to do the shutters. As you can see, the little treehouse has some shutters there that I did in this light orange. It's this image here from the stamp set. Okay, so we're going to just simply ink this up in our Mango Medley. Is it Mango Medley or Melody? I'm sorry, Mango Melody. I'm so sorry. I haven't quite gotten to memory all of the new colors yet. Most of them, yes, but not all. And then you just, again, line this up in the little spaces that treehouse stamp has provided for us, and then you just stamp it down. And now you have cute little shutters on your treehouse. Again, you will be able to do it perfectly because you won't be worried about your head getting in the camera. All right, now let's go ahead and bring back over our early espresso and do our little fence. And I'll show you again on the card, this little porch or whatever you want to call it that goes in front of the treehouse here. So I'm just going to, oh, and by the way, that's this image right here, and it's all one image. There's a little gap in it because that's how the stamp is created, but just like the shutters, it's all one stamp. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and ink this up in early espresso here, and then you just want to line it up right in front with the base of the railing at the base of the house. So just line it up there like that, and then you simply stamp it right down. And again, my head's gonna get in. I'm so sorry, guys. There we go. Okay, see? Adorable, right? And even though my door and my shutters aren't 100% perfect because, again, of the camera, it still looks absolutely adorable just like that, doesn't it? I think it does anyway. Okay, now let's work a little bit on the grass. As you can see from the finished card here, I have some little grass down here that sort of fills the gap between where I stamped the tree and the bottom of the cardstock. It's this little image right here. Now, it's not a very long image, but because these are photopolymer, it's not a big deal because I can see right through it and just continue the image on as we go here, you know, on across the entire length of the bottom of the cardstock. For my, oops, there's some ink on that block there. Okay, for my grass, I decided to use Garden Green. So let me grab that ink pad here. Let's go ahead and ink this up, and then we will stamp this. I started in the middle when I was doing it because I wanted to make sure that I covered up this gap. So my tree, the stump of my tree trunk here isn't just sort of floating in midair. So I'm going to stamp my grass here, like so, and I'm going to stamp a little bit at the bottom just to layer it a little bit so we've got plenty of grass here, like so. And we're going to do the same thing now all the way across this piece of Whisper White cardstock. So we'll put some a little higher, we'll put some a little bit lower, and it's just going to look like a whole bunch of grass here at the bottom of our cardstock here. Okay, now we're going to do the other side, so we'll just keep going. See how you can do the whole length there of the bottom. And then I'm doing 2 layers because I stamped my treehouse a little bit further up than I intended, but it's no big deal because I can fix that by simply adding more grass. I'm gonna put a little bit more right here. Okay, so there's our grass. Now it's time to create the fun little first layer of the bushy part of the tree. So as you can see, I'll pull this up here. I've got 2 layers with 2 different colors. I've got the ones that I popped out, and we'll talk about how to do that in a minute. And then I've got darker green back behind them. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm going to be using, there's 3 different sizes. There's this really big one, and then there's this medium, and then the little. And I just used these 2. I thought that they worked best with the treehouse. I played around with the big one for a little while and I just couldn't get it like I wanted it. So I decided to just use these sizes. So I'm gonna stick with garden green to do this. And what I'm gonna do is just ink this up. You could also use these images, by the way, as clouds. Wouldn't these make cute light blue clouds or something as well? But today they're going to be part of our tree. And I'm going to start by putting one right up top here. That sort of helps me gauge where all the others need to be. So I'm just going to stamp it down there like so. Okay, so right now it's still not looking like much, but we're going to get there. So now I'm going to put one right here, just because we got this little stub here that's part of a tree branch that's sort of holding our tree in place our tree house in place in our tree. So we want to make sure we have some leafy part to kind of connect to that. So I'm going to put this one right here. Alrighty. Then I'm going to put another one right down here-ish. And it's okay if they overlap. That's fine. I don't think I'm doing, and this one's actually going to overlap. You'll see what I mean. I'm going to stamp this one right here and see how it overlaps with the top one. It still looks perfectly fine. Plus we're going to have some layered on top anyway, so it's just not a huge deal. Now we're going to come over to the left side of our tree house. I'm going to do the same thing. Just kind of stamp around our little tree house here. And I'm just going to kind of make them a little even with what we've already got down on the right side here. So this one's going to go here, and then we'll put one down here that overlaps slightly with the one above it. And there we go. So we're done with our dark green leafy things. All right, leafy things, that's its technical term, right? All right, let's finish. There's a couple other things I want to add to the bottom of the card, and then we'll go back up and finish the leafy part, and then we'll be all done. Okay, so there's this cute little sign. There's actually 2 signs that come in the stamp set. One says kids only, and one says welcome. So I grabbed the kids only for this particular card. You could obviously use the other one if you wanted to. And I'm going to stamp this little sign in early espresso. Just sort of a dark wooden sign was my thinking, but of course you could do it in any color that you wanted. So I'm going to get this nice and inked up in my early espresso, and then just stick it down a little bit in that grass and pull it up. And there you can see it clearly says kids only. How adorable is that? And I love how you can read it so clearly too. Just the stamp set was just so well designed. Okay. We are done with our early espresso, so we can set that aside. Next, I want to go ahead and stamp the little tire swing, and I'll show you that on the stamp cover in just a moment. Let me pull it off the stamp package first. Okay, it's this little image right here, and as you can see on the finished card, I just stuck it here on the right side of the tree. I did use Memento Tuxedo black ink for this. I just thought, you know, most tires are black, so we'll just do a black tire swing here. Get it nice and inked up in your Tuxedo Memento black ink here, and then just stamp it down. Cute. Super, super cute. Okay, so now we can go ahead and put the lid back on that. We're done with our black ink. Now, on my finished card here, you can see I did a little banner on the right side of the, right above the tire swing along this branch. Obviously, that's absolutely optional, but I just thought, whoops, dropping stuff. I just thought it was a cute little touch, so I'm going to go ahead and show you how I did that. There are 2 different banners that come in the stamp set. This one has 4, this one has 3. For the way I designed this card, I just used the 3 twice, and I'll show you what I mean. So I used the 3 first in red in the Poppy Parade, and then the second in Mango Melody to sort of match the colors on my, you know, my shutters and my door. So first I'm going to take the Poppy Parade, And we're just going to stick it down. Again, you can peer right through here so you can see exactly where you're placing this. Again, it's a little harder for me because I have the camera, but you guys get the idea. You can see right through these blocks here to right where you're stamping. Okay, we're done with our Poppy Parade. We're going to bring over our Mango Melody. I don't know why I can't say that. Let me clean this off a little bit better here. By the way, my Stampin' Scrub is off camera, so that's kind of what I'm doing when my arm disappears. Okay, so we're just going to put the orange now in between the red. So let's just stick these down like so. There we go. Cute, huh? So there's just a little banner. I just added a little bit of color too to that bottom right-hand side. I thought so. Just a cute little touch. Obviously optional. You can take it or leave it. I just thought it was cute. Okay, so we are done with our Mango Medley. Now what we want to do is we're going to take a piece of scrap Whisper white paper. I just have a bunch of scraps on my table so I can reach for them whenever I need them. So this is just a scrap. And I am grabbing my Granny Apple Green, which is a shade, lighter than the Garden Green that we already did the stamping of our leafy trees with. And I'm going to do 4 of the bigger size, I should say. So I'm just going to stamp 4 of these. Okay, and then we'll clean this off super quick. And then I'm going to grab the teeny tiny one. And I'll show you again on the cover just so you know what I'm talking about. These are the 2 that we're using. And so we just stamped this one, and now I'm going to do this one. And when I was designing this card, I wasn't honestly sure how many of these I was going to want. So I just started with 4 of each size, and it actually that's what I ended up using. It worked out great. So here's 4 of these. Okay, so that's done. We're done with our Granny Apple Green for now. Let's go ahead and close this up. Now, do we have to fussy cut all of these? No, we do not, because this stamp set actually coordinates. Now, this is not part of a bundle or anything, but it does so happen to coordinate with the Up and Away Thinlit dies. We have a beautiful stamp set in the catalog that's a hot air balloon type of stamp set. And these 2 images in that stamp set, or also in the die set, actually coordinate with these 2 sizes. So I happen to have this die set. So all you would do is run these through your Big Shot by lining up the small and little cloud design here. So I thought that was kind of cool. And you can purchase these framelits by themselves. And the bundle is not available anymore with the stamp set that fully coordinates with this, with the hot air balloon. But that stamp set is still current in the catalog, as is this die set. So I thought that was really cool. It's I love it when we are able to use other products that we may already own in different ways. I think that's so cool. Now, to save time, I already went ahead and did this before coming on camera and cut them all out, just to save us some time. So here they all are. The big ones and the little ones. So all we're going to do is we're going to grab us some regular size dimensionals for these and some mini dimensionals for the little teeny tiny ones, and we are just going to be layering these little guys on our scene here. This is just for fun. It looks really cute just like this. I mean, you obviously don't have to do this extra step, but I just thought it really added a little bit of fun to this particular stamp set. So I started with the big ones and got them placed exactly where I wanted them. So I knew I just kind of wanted to fill in the little gaps that my darker greens left behind. So as you can see, there's no right or wrong, way to do this. Just wherever you feel like putting one, that is the correct spot. So, and you'll see, I will take care of the parts that are hanging off in just a moment. All right, 1 dimensional on the back should be plenty for this. So we're going to stick this one here like that. Okay, and then the little ones, you can grab your mini dimensionals if you have them. These are awesome, and they fit perfectly on the back of this tiny little die cut. And so these are just going to kind of go in between. So like this one's going to go right here. Again, no right or wrong to this. Wherever you want to put them is where they go. Peel this off, peeling off the backings here. It's the part that's a little bit tedious, but it's fine. There goes that one. And then we have this one right here, which we'll put a little mini dimensional on. Oops, I forgot to peel the backing off. That would be helpful. And then I'm just going to put these little guys, one on each down here as well. Okay. All right. Cute, huh? So now there's two of these that are hanging off, so I'm just going to turn it over and just take my paper snips and just simply trim it so it's all flush with the back of the, it doesn't go over the cardstock, in other words, is what I'm trying to say. Okay, we can just discard those. Okay, so here is our little scene. I forgot to add one little thing. As you can see in the finished card, I have some cute little flowers down here, and I really think they make a cute touch, so I'm going to do that really quick. It's this image right here. We're going to grab our Poppy Parade again, and the image from this stamp set, the little flower image. Again, 3 of them come on the stamp. Okay, so let me grab a block. All right, so I am going to start by only inking up 2 of them, and that's easy to do. You simply, I'll show you here, you simply just turn your, I like to turn my ink pad when I'm doing something like this so that the straight edge, in other words, the one that doesn't have the lip, is facing me. It's just a little bit easier to maneuver my stamps. And then you just simply put the ink on 2 of them as opposed to 3. I don't know if you can, if that picks up on camera, but only 2 of these flowers are inked. And I'm going to now stamp right here. There we go. Okay. Then I'm going to now ink 2 again. The same 2 one more time. And this will just depend on how, where you put your sign, how many flowers you want inked. Mine, I'm only going to be able to fit comfortably 2 on this side to the right of the sign, so that's why I did it that way. Now I can ink all 3 for the right side. I'm good to go for the right side. So I just inked all 3 now. I don't have to worry about that anymore. And I'm just stamping them down. Okay. There we go. It's a little crooked, isn't it? Oh well, it's okay. You get the idea. Okay, so that then does it for our stamping. Isn't this adorable, you guys? I hope you love it. All right, we are done with our Stampin' Pierce mat, so I'm going to set that aside. The last thing that you would do is stamp your sentiment. To save time, because I knew this was already going to be a long video, I already have done that. And I just stamped it in Granny Apple Green ink on Granny Apple Green cardstock, which of course is what we used for these lighter green, bushy, leafy tree parts. And then I backed it on a piece of early espresso, which was what we did our little porch and our little steps leading up to our tree house. So that's done. The next step is to take this piece of crumb cake here, and you would then also take your little, there's a star image right here in the stamp set. And let me grab that really quick. I lied on accident. We are almost done with our stamping, but not quite. So let me grab that Stampin' Pierce mat one more time. All I did to create this, and it's very subtle and you can barely see it, but I just stamped a whole bunch of stars in crumb cake ink on this crumb cake piece of cardstock. And I just wanted a little bit of something on the back. And this is a great idea. Whoops, this is a great idea if you don't want to use up designer series paper or something. You just make your own. No big deal. You can make your own. So I'm just going to quickly, and I'm not going to do as many as I did for the final card because you guys get the idea, and I know that this is kind of a long video. But as you can see, I just randomly stamped these little stars everywhere on this piece of crumb cake cardstock. And then what I did after I stamped it is, now we're done with our stamping by the way, is I ran it through my Big Shot using this beautiful subtle textures embossing folder. And it's really hard to pick this up on camera, but on the photographs of this card that will be on my blog, you'll really be able to see it. You can barely see that texture there, but that's how I created that. All right, so now it is time to finish putting this card together. Let me just throw away all these dimensional backings really quick because they're gonna make a mess if I don't. Okay, so the first thing that I'm gonna do, and again, all measurements will be on my blog, but I'm going to go ahead and put some adhesive on the back of the panel that we did all of our stamping on here. And I'm going to mount it onto a piece of Poppy Parade cardstock. I thought that that really brought out our little flowers, our door, and the red in our little banner. So I thought that was a cute touch. Then the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to bring over our card base, which is just a standard A2 size card base that folds top fold like so. and a piece of our balmy blue cardstock, which matches, of course, the color of our cute little treehouse. So I'm going to go ahead and put some adhesive on the back of this and just center it on the front here of our card base. That looks good. Now I'm going to take this piece that we stamped the stars on and then ran through our subtles and with our subtles embossing folder. And we are going to catty corner this, but not so it's sticking off the card so we can actually put this in the mail. But we're just going to skew this like so. So it's not like a perfect centering of this. All right. And now this piece is going to go catty cornered like so, like that. So the stars will be sticking out behind it, but it's very subtle. So I'm going to grab some dimensionals to give this panel a little pop. Of course, you can also just put regular adhesive if you prefer. I love to give things a little bit of a pop, so that's why I tend to always reach for the dimensionals on small panels like this. But you don't have to. You can absolutely just adhere it flush to the front of the card if you prefer. All right, so again, we're going to sort of do this way. So turn it, a little bit. Again, we don't want it going off the card base because we want it to be able to fit in an envelope so we can mail it. So we have it like so. Isn't that cute? And then again, as I told you before coming on camera, I already went ahead and did the sentiment panel just to save some time. And I'm going to be popping that as well, again, with just dimensionals. I think 3 should do it. Packings, and then I just sort of stuck this flush with the right hand side of the balmy blue cardstock. So I just kind of stuck it a little bit under the panel, just a tiny bit, and then just make sure that it's straight across like so. And there it is, guys. The final piece, which I won't do on camera just because I know this video has been long already, is just add a little bit of a bow here at the top with some crumb cake twine. As you can see, I've almost used all of mine. I need to get some more, but it comes in a Nature's Twine pack. I will have links, by the way, on my blog to all of the supplies used to create this card if you are interested. All right, guys, so this is the one I did before coming on camera. And as you can see, everything is exactly where it's supposed to be because, again, my head was able to get right over top, and you will be able to do that too. Here's the one I made with the camera in the way, and as you can see, it's still very sweet. Doesn't that Subtles embossing folder give such a beautiful texture? It's very subtle, so it's aptly named, but I just love it peeking out behind our little treehouse there. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. Please check out my blog, and you might want to think about purchasing this stamp set. I love it. Thank you so much for stopping by as always, and I will catch you in the next video. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.